Hey, what's up? My name is Junior Lee. I'm a vacant land wholesaler who has closed over 90 deals in the past 3 years. Having only seen one in person, I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can do this from anywhere in the world. I've done this with none of my own money, and I do not have a real estate license, so virtually anyone in America, or anyone in the world for that matter, can do this exact same thing. I'm starting this series to go through every single deal that I've ever done throughout my whole career. I will let you know exactly how much I made and every detail of the deal, so that way you can replicate this business model and apply it to your own life, and you too can begin closing deals as soon as. I started in February of 2020, and it took a little bit of time to gain traction, but I was able to successfully close my first deal in June of 2020, where on that deal I made $5,000 net on an assignment fee. At that time, I was using this software called PropStream. PropStream is a monthly service that you pay for, and you can create list of properties, property owners, buyers, sellers. You can do all sorts of things with PropStream. Back then, what I did was I pulled a list of single-family residences in the local county that I was in, which was Hall County, Georgia. Once my list was made on PropStream, now I had to get contact information for the owners of these properties. So I sent the list that I cultivated on PropStream to a skip tracing company. In this case, I used clearskip.com. You can use whoever you want, but since the beginning of my career, that is all that I've used. They give the best data. I don't have very many missed numbers, and they're very affordable. The list was returned to me within the same day that I sent it for skip tracing. They give you up to 10 phone numbers and even up to 10 emails, though I only do cold calling and SMS marketing. I do not do any form of email marketing right now. Back then, when I had just started out, the only software that I paid for was PropStream, and the only other service that I paid for was skip tracing. So once I had the list, I had to manually text every single phone number and manually cold call every single phone number. As I mentioned before, I started in February but did not get my first deal until June of that year. So it could take some time for you to generate your first deal, but you have to stay consistent. So every single day I would wake up, I would text, and I would call, and I would keep track of how many calls I made every day and how many texts I had sent every single day. I finally got someone to agree to sell at a reasonable price. It was a single family residence in Lula, Georgia. In this case, I was still trying to wholesale single family residences. So once we agreed to a price, my wife and I, my girlfriend at the time, went out to the property to visit it to see the condition of it and grab some photos of the property. At this point in time, we had already had a purchase agreement in place with a 60-day close, and the contract was assignable. So the seller agreed on a price, we agreed on that price, we signed the contract. Now we have the purchase agreement in place for $20,000. After visiting the home, we realized that it was in much worse condition than described to us over the phone. So we negotiated a price reduction of $5,000. So we were already there. We grabbed all the photos and all the videos of the whole entire property, the inside of the home, the exterior condition, and the land surrounding the home. Now that I had the contract in place and the price reduction that I thought would work for an end buyer, and all the photos and videos, I then began to market in Facebook groups and on Facebook Marketplace. The tricky thing with wholesaling an owner-occupied home was visitation with potential buyers. So I had to really vet out my buyers before even trying to schedule a viewing for them. Luckily, I was able to find one rather quickly that lived really close to the property. So we scheduled a viewing, we went out to it, and he liked what he saw. So right then on the spot, we signed an assignment of contract for $5,000, bringing his total purchase price to $20,000. A lot of traction on the Facebook groups. I joined a ton of real estate Facebook groups in the local area, and I got a lot of positive feedback from a lot of interested parties. Now that we have the assignment of contract in place, as well as the purchase agreement that was assignable, I took both documents and I emailed them to the closing attorney I had selected to work with in the area and asked them to open the title search. Now, once the title search process is started, depending on where you are in the country, some places it takes less than 5 days, less than 3 days, and some places it takes longer. In this local market, it took 2 weeks for the title search to be performed. Once the title was back clear, the closing attorney sent an email to me notifying me that the title was clear and ready to close. So then at that point, we just had to schedule closing with the buyer and the seller. We selected a day that worked for both parties to sign on the same day. The seller came that morning and signed their portion of the closing documents, and the buyer went in the afternoon to sign their portion. I, at the time, was inexperienced and did not realize that I did not need to be at the closing, as I would only be picking up my assignment fee check, but I attended closing anyway. I was very excited as it was my first closing. I even dressed up for the occasion. I put on a nice polo and went to closing at the same time as my buyer. My buyer went and had signed their closing documents, but had failed to deliver the funds to purchase the property.